Feel like, I did something right in life.
It will never go away. It'll always be with me. And I think I saw somewhere the sadness is a reminder of how much.
How do you measure a life? Is it by the smiles left behind, the stories shared on quiet evenings, the laughter warming living rooms across generations? Or can a man's legacy be rewritten by things we can't see? Silence, secrets, maybe even a warning whispered before the tide comes in. For most people, tragedy drifts into the background, another headline, another loss. But in Malcolm Jamal Warner's case, the pain is tangled with something much darker. The official line says it's over. But when you look closer, the truth rushes back in, sharp as broken glass. It was supposed to be a day for memories, for son, for stories, for a father and his little girl. July 20th, 2025, Cockles Beach, Costa Rica. The kind of afternoon you dream about in dark winters. The water shimmered. The sky was a blue so clear it almost looked painted. And on the shore, the man we thought we'd always have, Malcolm. The warm laugh, the quick wit, the open heart. The one millions grew up watching, first as a child on an iconic show, then as a man who navigated fame with humility and grace. Hours before tragedy struck, he appeared in a small family video, barely more than a few seconds long. His daughter's birthday, a flower tucked behind his ear, pure, goofy love shining in his eyes. You can still hear his voice if you close your eyes. There's always a reason to smile. And he meant it. Those were the last words anyone ever heard from him alive. Hours later, that smile was gone forever. Authorities wasted no time. The explanation came fast, sharp, and final. Accidental drowning. They said the daughter wasn't even in the water, that it was a misstep, a current too strong that swept him away before anyone could help. Clinical, cold, case closed before sunset. But that version didn't match what witnesses remembered. Not even close. A surfer who'd been close enough to see the chaos start claimed he saw Malcolm's daughter, her small arms caught in a surge, struggling, panicking, nearly swallowed by the sea. Malcolm dove in after her, not even hesitating. Every instinct, every ounce of strength aimed at saving his little girl, battling the current until he was dragged under. The Red Cross treated the child on the shore while others desperately tried to revive him. But the most damning detail, this account was nowhere in the official report. Erased. If he died a hero, saving his child, people would ask more questions about beach safety, lifeguard presence, and why a beloved celebrity was so vulnerable in paradise. Officials, instead, scrubbed the story clean. No heroics, no rescue, just a simple statistic, another accidental drowning. If that was the first crack in the narrative, what happened next split it wide open. Less than 24 hours after his death, while family and fans struggled raw with grief, Malcolm's wife allegedly sprang into action, not to comfort her daughter or plan a memorial, but to secure $12 million in assets in her name. The paperwork moved faster than anyone thought possible. Property, investments, royalties all locked down. His little girl, the one he died saving, allegedly denied one last goodbye as her mother rushed to push through a cremation. There would be no autopsy, no toxicology, no time for grief, no chance for the truth to breathe. Ashes, after all, don't talk. Only the living do, and most were silent. But amid the silence, one voice did break through. Regina King. Fans know her not just as a celebrated actor, but as the love of Malcolm's life, a relationship that burned bright and ended abruptly. No one saw the split coming. One moment they were building a future, the next, fate twisted everything and Regina was left out in the cold. It mirrored her own pain a year later, when her only son's life ended far too soon. For her, grief was love with no place to go. When Malcolm died, everyone waited for her words, for public outrage, for some direction in the fog. What she finally posted was simple. A quiet motorcycle photo, a note about energy that never leaves. No accusations, no drama. But beneath her calm, fans sensed something heavier. Grief can be silent, but sometimes silence screams the loudest. That's when rumors began to sprout claws. Malcolm wasn't just an actor. He was a man working on something he called Theopiles, a cryptic project, the kind of thing only the closest friends knew about. And then there was the email. Allegedly leaked to a journalist, it outlined a folder. Encrypted, scattered across hidden servers, locked with passwords. Inside, Malcolm claimed, was evidence. Documents that could change the way we see the entertainment world. The closing line burned in everyone's mind. If anything happens to me, no, it wasn't an accident. Read it again. If anything happens to me, no, it wasn't an accident. Chills every time. Suddenly, the accidental drowning looked different. Every contradiction magnified. Why hide the hero story? Why move millions so quickly? Why force cremation, erase the evidence, and block the daughter from closure? It started to look less like tragedy and more like motive. Official statements kept coming, neat and polished, as if someone had a script ready before the tide even calmed. No questions, no complications. The world was supposed to move on, quietly. But behind the scenes, rumors went viral. On Twitter, tributes and hashtags stormed in. Justice for Malcolm. Old interviews reshared. Fan theories dissecting every clip. Reddit users trawled through timelines, matching up reports with eyewitness testimony, piecing together the puzzle in real time. TikTok spread the last video with his daughter, a smile immortalized before disaster. It didn't stop there. Insiders claimed that in the days after Malcolm's death, unidentified officials, not police, not FBI, just suits, started contacting people close to him, pressing for his laptop, his phone, his hard drives. All disappeared, wiped clean or missing entirely. His wife told everyone she couldn't find the devices, but those close to Malcolm suggested he'd left a failsafe, an off-site backup, hidden, programmed to surface if anything happened to him. Whether it's real, no one knows. Maybe someone is still searching. The narrative spun even darker when a partial leak arrived in a journalist's inbox. No return address, just a link to a PDF titled Theoples Part 1. The pages, though heavily redacted and watermarked, were enough to ignite wild speculation. List of dates, secret meetings, high-level entertainment power players strategizing how to contain and manage fallout from an unnamed actor incident. One of the executives discussing damage control, allegedly present at that same beach the day Malcolm died. No direct connection drawn, but the implication hung heavy. Once leaked, that PDF disappeared as quickly as it appeared, the account scrubbed from existence. But it was too late. The internet never forgets. Forums, group chats, encrypted threads, everywhere people began connecting the dots. For those paying close attention, the pattern felt alarmingly familiar. A public figure, a sudden and suspicious tragedy, a rush to close the case and claim assets, and rumors of a secret someone tried desperately to keep quiet. The heartbreak was far from over. Malcolm's daughter, just 8, reappeared in a video posted by a family friend. Sitting on a couch, clutching that same flower from her father's last living moment, she didn't speak. She didn't need to. Her eyes, haunted, wise beyond her years, spoke an entire novel worth of pain and confusion. The video went viral within hours, millions commenting that she seemed to know far more than the world would ever let her say. It was a picture worth any headline, burning itself onto the public's collective memory. As public grief burned into public outrage, a new voice stepped into the fire. A man claiming to have been part of Malcolm's security team came forward, not with wild accusations, but with details that shook everyone. He alleged that in the months before his trip to Costa Rica, Malcolm became deeply uneasy, requesting extra protection, not from crowds or paparazzi, but from the kind of people who don't like questions. Malcolm, he said, left a chilling instruction. If something happens to me on a trip, it won't be an accident. For anyone listening, the pattern was impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, rumors about Theoples intensified. Some believed it was proof of financial crimes linking Hollywood studios to offshore accounts. Others said it tied politicians and media moguls to decades-old cover-ups. The most extreme theory, the file was meant to drop and once released, could blow open corruption that stretched across industries and continents. In this scenario, Malcolm became more than just a beloved star. He was the last line of defense for truth some would bury at any cost. For weeks, every new detail grew the theory. Private chats leaked hints of footage, a shaky cell phone video allegedly showing Malcolm fighting the ocean with his daughter clinging to him. When asked, witnesses said their phones were taken by investigators on the scene, never returned. All in the name of family privacy. But family privacy or permanent silence? That's the question haunting everyone who believes more is being hidden than revealed. Multiple timelines began to emerge, layered and confusing. Some facts couldn't be denied. Malcolm was still breathing when pulled from the water, according to at least 2 witnesses. The Red Cross response was reportedly delayed due to confusion about who was in charge, a miscommunication that cost precious minutes. Meanwhile, his wife was already contacting lawyers and bankers before news outlets even broke the story nationally. The push for immediate cremation, the relentless refusal to allow even minimal autopsy, smothered any hope for a deeper look. Why the rush? If you talk to those close to the story, the answer is simple. You can't question ashes. Once the body is gone, so are the bruises, the fractures, the hidden truths written just beneath the skin. Cremation, in this case, became less about honoring the dead and more about erasing questions the living would be too scared to answer. And then there was Regina King. She stayed silent as the world spun out of control, as newscasters swapped stories for rumors, and as fans begged for clarity. Some say she knew about Theopiles, that Malcolm trusted her with its existence but not its contents. Maybe for her, silence is protection. Maybe it's fear. Or maybe she's just waiting for the right moment to break it. Through all of this, one constant remained: the online search for answers. More than just mourning, people became investigators, digital detectives scouring for leaks, screenshots, any scraps of truth. They cross-referenced official versions with real-time witness accounts, tracking strange discrepancies: who was where, who said what, who vanished after the fact. No detail too small, no theory dismissed, because the stakes felt so much higher than just one man's life. This was about justice, about never letting powerful people think they can hide behind silence, money, or influence. As days turned to weeks and then to months, it became clear the storm wasn't going to fade quietly. That haunting final video, father and daughter, a flower in his hair, became a symbol. Not of death, but of questions that refused to drown. People posted, commented, and shared. Supporters flooded every platform with his name, refusing to let the story wither into obscurity. Some called it conspiracy, others called it courage. But what mattered most was what happened next: a public that refused to forget. Every thread, every post, every whispered "justice for Malcolm" in the comments became a vote against silence, a rebellion against erasure. So maybe this is how you measure a life, not just by memories or by loss, but by the questions that survive long after. By the courage of those who refuse to look away, who challenge the easy version, who demand answers when it's easier to settle for the official line. Somewhere out there, the full Theopiles folder may still exist. Maybe one day, when it finally surfaces, the world will see not just what was taken, but what was nearly buried with him. Until then, his daughter's eyes, that flower, and those unresolved questions are reminders that the truth, like the tide, always returns. In a world where stories can be bought, buried, and erased overnight, justice only comes when enough of us refuse to stay silent. If you believe that, don't let this fade. Type "Justice for Malcolm" in the comments. Share his story. Remind the world that not everything can be washed away. Because they thought they could silence him with secrets and paperwork and money, that grief would be enough to cover the tracks. But they were wrong. The story isn't over, not by a long shot. The tide always turns. And when those files finally come to light, the truth will roar louder than any wave.